What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So in today's video, we are going to talk about the brand new global anniversary characters that are going to be arriving to One Piece Treasure Cruise. We have a brand new Monkey D. Luffy, and we have a new Portgas D. Ace. And that's kind of wild that we're getting these characters separate. Now, there is no Sabo character. While technically, yes, there's a Sabo character here, which is actually kind of wild. So we got kind of debated a little bit, in my opinion, unless if there is going to be a Sabo character later on this month. We do know that the treasure map character likely is going to be Fujitora. So having a Sabo versus Fujitora treasure map actually does make a lot of sense. So we'll have to wait and see what they do in regards to that. So let's go ahead and kick things off with Luffy. Now, these are the full breakdowns that were posted on the official Twitter account. So let's go ahead and break down Luffy real quick. He is a Sai Free Spirit Fighter character, and he's a super class character with a final tap. So that's kind of wild, which means that these characters that are arriving are likely going to be like anniversary style units, like the waifus, K-Dad, and 8.5 anniversary Zoro. I assume these units are very similar to that. We'll have to wait and see for the official in-game announcement. So without further ado, let's actually just break down this Luffy, and we'll talk about his captain first. His captain is wacky. So these two images here, his captain ability. There's a lot going on. So let's just start off with his captain, boosting all characters attack by 4.75 and a 1.3 health boost. Recovery and tandem slots are beneficial, and boosts the effect of the captain ability based on the accumulated values earned from past turns and defeated enemies, right? So the base captain basically does nothing. It's an attack boost, health boost, and matching slots. That's it. However, as things progress throughout the fight, you actually get stronger and stronger. Now, as it mentions here, it's based on an accumulated value. Now, the value starts at 0 at the start of the quest, but every time you pass a turn, you get +2 added to the counter, and every time you defeat an enemy, +1 is added to the counter, right? Now, it mentions that when the accumulated value is between 10 and 19, you get a 5 times attack boost instead, 1.3 health, recovery tandem matching, allows you to consume recovery slots with perfects, and a 10% damage reduction. So you can see that when you get to 10 to 19, you're slowly getting a better captain. When the accumulated value is between 20 and 29, it's a 5.25 times captain, 1.3 health, reducing 10 turns of bind on the crew. Recovery and tandem are beneficial, allows you to consume recovery with perfects, and 10% damage reduction. So that's pretty much it. It's a 15% damage reduction, should I say, 20 to 29. But then the max capacity, if your value is at 30 or more, you get a 5.5 attack, 1.3 health, paralysis, and bind reduction by 10 turns. Recovery and tandem matching, consume recovery with perfects, and 20% damage reduction. A lot going on here, but to kind of dumb it down, he is a rainbow captain at the end of the day, but he's not meant to be speed farmed with. He is a very slow captain. If you're able to take the time, this captain is bonkers. Like, if you just look at just this last bit of the captain, 5.5 attack, huge health, the utility is wild. 10 turn removal of bind and paralysis, and then you've got recovery tandem, recovery consuming, and then 20% damage reduction. And if you just think, if you partner this up with Gold D. Roger, you're removing paralysis and bind by 10, and then removing despair completely with Roger. Like, the utility is just wild. But the caveat with that is that you have to take your time. You have to be very slow, because every time you defeat something, you get +1. Every passing of turn is +2. So you do have to stall a little bit, but you probably don't have to stall as much as you think. I think that, you know, after you defeat like 5 enemies, that's 5, and then when you pass a turn, it gets you up to +2. Yeah, you can kind of get there. I think that, at least on an arena, you can comfortably get to the 20 to 29. Getting to 30 will probably, you'll have to go out of your way to do that, like, pretty efficiently. So, yeah, it's good for sure, but he's definitely not a fast captain. But I think in long-form content, this unit is going to be very, very good. So we can just move on here. So if you do opt to use him as a captain, you get access to the super class special here. Now, in order to activate it, you need Ace, Sabo, Garp, Shanks, Makino, or Curly Dadan on the crew, or after 10 turns have passed, which is not that difficult to do. and the effect -2 cooldown to the whole crew. I don't really understand why he has that, considering the amount of stall that you're doing. Like, cooldown probably isn't an issue, but I guess you can deal with special reverse. He extends the duration of chain locks and chain multiplier boosts, except multiplicative boosts. So it means any chain lock or chain additions, you're extending by 2 turns. That's really, really good, because if you have it, you have at least 1 turn. His super class, extending it to 3, you can carry it over multiple turns. It's very strong. And then Free Spirit becomes Super Free Spirit. So if you use him as a captain, I think that you can kind of understand what's going on. He's actually pretty good overall. Then we have his special. The special ability, reducing Despair and attack down by 7 turns, which is very good utility, boosting your orbs by 2.25 for 5 turns, okay? Boosting your chain multiplier by 1.2 times for 1 turn. Do note that this is a multiplicative buff, not a chain addition. It's a very, very interesting note there. But then, if you land 2 perfects when you launch the special, then you get a 1.35 times multiplicative buff in the following turn. But then, during that second turn, if you land an additional 2 perfects, you boost your chain multiplier by 1.5 times multiplicative buff in the following turn, and increase your orbs by 0.5 in that following turn. So if you do everything correctly, you can have a your 1.5 multiplicative buff and a 2.75 times orb boost. But it takes multiple turns to get it to activate. Like, while I think this character's good, there's not a lot of content where this guy's going to be like the go-to guy for it. He's going to be able to clear a lot of content for sure, but I think he's going to be very annoying to use, right? Crewmate ability makes recovery and tandem slots beneficial to the whole team. That's obviously really good. And crewmate ability, you add an additional 300 per recovery slot heal, which is actually pretty good too. The support effect, Ace, Garp, and Sabo, and once per quest, if the supported character uses a special, boost the character's base attack by 1.5 times until the next battle. This is really good. We've had the support red recruit Sabo that came out a really long time ago, and he's been very good attaching to Luffy, being able to provide the 1.5 base attack multiplier. And now we have a new one for Ace, Garp, and Sabo. It is good, but remember, it's a Luffy support, and you might want to use a Luffy on the crew, so that could be a bit of an issue there. But across the board, it's very odd the way that this unit is designed. But I mean, you know, different strokes for different folks. I kind of understand they got to make some really odd choices here and there. I think this character's good. Don't really know how often I would ever use this character, but yeah, he's a good character, no doubt. Let's have a look at his Rumble stuff real quick. So in Rumble, he is going to be focusing on boosting the fighter characters. So his Rumble ability, we'll go over to his Rumble ability. Fighter characters get level 5 HP, level 5 speed, and level 5 defense. It's very good. The only real issue here is a lot of the fighter teams are really focused around using both fighter and powerhouse together. And Luffy being free spirit and fighter, there's not a good synergy there. But mono fighter are still pretty good. They've got some really good stuff going on. So I definitely think this Luffy will still be good. The special ability, 25 CT, if that is the right cooldown, that's reasonable. Fighter characters, level 5 attack, level 5 speed, level 5 defense, all for 25 seconds. Those are very, very long buffs. And then targets 2 enemies for 3,000 fixed damage. He's fine. Like, you gotta remember, he is a Sugofest exclusive, so he does take up a lot of cost on your team. So if you are you really gonna be using him on a fighter team instead of like one of your heavy hitters? I don't know if you're doing that. But again, like, if you're running mono fighter, you might be able to find space for it. Both of these units, Ace and Luffy, both have grand party stats. So the GP burst of this Luffy, in order to get it, you have to deal 60,000 damage to the opponent, which is okay, I think. He targets 3 low attack teammates for CT 50% reduction, and then targets 3 high attack teammates, or enemies should we say, for attack down level 10 for 20 seconds. I don't think this burst is very good. For the amount of damage you have to deal, the benefit of doing all of that damage is very low. I'm not a big fan of this GP burst. I think it's actually pretty bad. We've got his Grand Party ability, his leader skill. Psi and Strength get attack up, HP up, crit up, and Fighter Culls get attack speed and CT speed up. It's a good GP leader skill for sure, but the burst is just absolutely garbage. So I don't think this character is going to be very good in Rumble, but I think in normal content, he's just going to be like an interesting unit to use for sure. But that's the breakdown of Luffy. I don't really know how I feel about this unit. I like the mechanics that they're trying to do. I just don't know how often this unit's really going to see play. You got to remember, this is a Luffy character, so, you know, you take that as it is, right? The fact that, you know, there's going to be a lot of good Luffys that come out from this point onwards. Remember, there's going to be a big one we're waiting for near the end of the year. I don't know, man. That's all I'm saying, is that we have other Luffys to look forward to. I don't really know if this is a character that's going to see a lot of play in the future. That's the Luffy, though. I think he's very interesting. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about him down below. Next, we have Ace. Now, when I first saw the two artworks, we're getting a Luffy, we're getting an Ace, I actually wasn't that excited for the Ace character, but after reading what he does, I'm actually very excited for him. More actually for his Rumble stuff. I think in Rumble, this character is going to be a very strong addition to some teams. Anyways, we have Ace in his, on all of his glory. So Ace here is a Psy shooter-free spirit, and he is a super tandem character, which kind of makes sense when you judge by the artwork. You want to be using his crew members with him. So Ace, let's go over to his captain. Ace's captain gives you -2 cooldown at the start of the quest, which is great, boosting Psy and Quick characters' HP by 1.3, and boosting their attack by 5 times. And then also makes their Quick, Psy, and Tandem slots have matching slot effects. Now, if there is a Quick character on the crew, boost the attack of Psy and Quick by 5.25, and you get a 0.3 chain addition that stacks in his captain. So, I mean, it's pretty weird. You can just run like Psy and Quick units, but as long as you got one Quick unit, you get a better attack boost and you get chain addition. So it's not really much of a condition at all. It's essentially just this. 5.25 attack, 0.3 chain addition, 1.35 HP, quick side tandem matching, -2 cooldown. Great captain. No utility though, which is a little bit of a downside. However, there is a little bit of utility in his super type special. Now it is super type, so he is focusing on boosting Psy characters predominantly, but this super type special is different. So the activation requirement, you need Luffy, Sabo, Garp, Dadan, Makino, Yamato, Leonoro, Skull, Mihal, and Ganryu, which are all of the new characters arriving in the batch. The super type special though reduces burn by 6 turns. That's a really good utility effect in a super type. Most super type like gimmick removals, usually they don't exceed 3. Very rarely they exceed 3 turns. So seeing a 6-turn removal is very good. Now, you also get a 1.75 attack boost for 1 turn, but it can be overwritten with other attack boosting effects. So I like that they do that. You can actually synergize this with Goldie Roger, which is, I really, really like. So that's cool. And then you also get a 20% Psy resistance down and a 40% quick resistance down. And some people may ask, you know, why does Psy get like the short end of the stick in terms of the resistance? It kind of supplements it, because remember, Psy characters are getting Super Psy, which means they get inherent color affinity boost. I think that's probably one of the reasons why. So if you use quick characters, you get a bit more of a benefit out of the resistance boost. But at the end of the day, it's still a resistance down. You still get free damage from the super type special, which is great. I like the super type special. I think it's actually pretty good. Let's move over to the special, right? So we have the captain, very good. Super type special, very, very good. Now the special ability, it's a health cutting special, damage dealing special, which is good, 10% health cut. And then the top and bottom row slots are changed, including block, into tandem slots, and then boost the chain multiplier by 1.5 for 3 turns. So it is a chain addition boost. But then this effect is a new mechanic. We haven't seen this in the game yet, which is likely one of the components as to why we had the 12.4 upgrade in the first place. Carries over 20% of the final chain multiplier of this turn to the next turn. Minimum of 0.2, maximum of 2.0. Again, as I said, this is something we haven't seen before. So it carries over 20% of the final chain. So what I guess is, right, is that if you hit, like, so if we just take his special at face value, 1.5 chain addition, it means that if you hit all your perfects, you get a 4.0 chain at the end. Your last unit is hitting for 4.0. My assumption is that 20% of that 4.0 is just carried over to the next room. And I think 20% of 4.0, I think it ended up being, was it 0.8, I think? So that would mean that maybe you get like a 0.8 addition when you start your next turn or something like that. I'm not too sure how this works. In theory, this sounds pretty good, especially if you're able to stack a lot of chain additions in the turn prior and then stack it all for the final stage. In theory, this has a lot of potential. So again, health cut, tandem slots, chain addition, and then carrying over chain to the next turn. Then it says if your crew already has a chain multiplier boost when you launch the special, Psy, Quick, and Shooter characters get a 1250 base attack for 3 turns. I'm not a big fan of that component of the special. Like, base attack is like kind of whatever. considering we have so many other better characters you could be using. I mean, you could use literally Legend Nami, the New Year's Legend Nami, under this character as well, which has a higher chain addition potential and also has a higher base attack potential. So yeah, when Nami exists, this character is kind of funky, but again, you can just use this as like a different version of Nami, I suppose. So the special is interesting and has a new mechanic. The captain is very good. The super type, I think, is also very good. The crewmate ability, he carries over 10 slot when you hit a perfect, which is good. And then base attack boost for your quick and side characters. The support effect is also kind of cool, attaching to Luffy, Sabo, and then his crew members. And one request, if you use the special, you get a 0.7 chain boost. So that's nice. I really like that these characters get access to this really cool chain effect. Then you've got the Super Tandem. So the really cool thing about this Super Tandem is that it doesn't mention that it only activates on the final stage. You can activate this during any point during the quest, so long as one of the characters required are on the team. At level 5, by the way, when one of the following characters are on the crew. And the reason why this is so good is because of the effect, right? We'll get to the effect in just a moment, but you got Luffy, Sabo, Garp. It's the same characters for his super type, but the effect, you get only a 1.5 times attack boost to side, quick, and shooter. I think this is the first time that we've seen two colors in a class for a tandem attack boost. But then further boost the chain multiplier by 1.5 times multiplicative buff, by the way, which is crazy. And the fact that you only need one character, it means you attack with Ace, you attack with one of the characters listed, and then you get the chain multiplicative buff. So you're getting the chain multiplier buff very early in the chain. You're only tapping 2 characters, the second character automatically activates it. So very early you're getting that chain, so you're making the most out of it. So that if you're using the special ability to stack the chain in the over multiple turns, that's where things get cooking pretty good, right? Because you can stack this 1.5 chain addition with this 1.5 chain multiplicative buff during the same turn, stack it all together, you get a mass chain that you can stack over into the next room as well. So yeah, and the fact that you get, you know, this carried over to the next room, the chain multiplicative or chain addition buff from Ace's special lasts for 3 turns, base attack boost lasts for 3 turns too, and then, oh my god, there's just, you can see how this could stack to get some pretty crazy chain mechanics going on. And this isn't even talking about adding a chain boundary in this kit anywhere, right? Like, one of the rare recruits might do chain boundary, but you could just add a unit onto the team to do that for you. So I like where this is going. I think Ace has a lot of potential moving forward. However, we need to talk about his Rumble kit, because his Rumble kit I am also very, very excited for. For those of you who are fans of the channel, I am a massive fan of the shooter teams in Pirate Rumble, and this character is a massive addition to the Rumble squads. So look at this Rumble ability. 6 attack, 6 defense, and whenever he takes damage up to 5 times, he gives himself a further level 1 attack buff. You don't see an attack and defense buff too often in Rumble characters. Usually, if you're seeing an offensive character, they'll have HP and attack. You rarely see defense and attack together, so this is very, very good, because defense is probably more important than HP in a lot of cases. So Rumble ability is fantastic. Then you have this special 32 CT, which is a little on the high end, but you do a medium range defense down, and then shooters get level 5 attack buff, and then large horizontal range 3 times attack damage. So this is so good. The fact that you're buffing your team, debuffing your opponents, and then doing the damage. Oh my god. And the fact that he's a Psy unit means it already synergizes with the shooter squad that we have right now, with running the Psy quick shooters with like characters like Kuzan, who buffs Psy and quick, you Beckman Lucky Roo, you can use Legend Chopper for bulk, you can use Kizaru for CT reduction. Like, this character has so much going for him in Rumble. I'm a big fan of what this character tries to do. Once again, he has Grand Party stats. You only have to take damage 33 times, which I don't think is actually that difficult. The effect targets team for crit percent up level 10, and then all enemies 4 times attack. Yeah, this is a much better GP burst. It's an easier activation requirement, in my opinion, compared to what Luffy's was, and the special is just better. The Rumble Grand Party stat leader skill, it gives buffs to Psy, speed, HP, and CT up, and then shooter free spirit, get HP, attack, and speed up. This is so good. Ace is really good. I can see Ace being used a lot moving forward, and you gotta remember, it's a shooter with barrier penetration, so he already synergizes so well with characters like the quick Legend Uta, as well as Beckman Lucky Roo. Like, he just slots in perfectly with what we already have. I'm a big fan of the new Portgas D Ace. So in my opinion, I think Ace is the better character. I think he's going to see a lot more play moving forward. But don't disregard what Luffy does, because Luffy has some interesting mechanics, but it's the fact that we're going to be getting a better Luffy later on in the year. It's just, it is what it is, right? Anyways, that's the breakdown of the Sugo Fest. Let me know down below in the comments, guys. What do you guys think about the brand new Sugo Fest exclusives, Ace and Monkey D. Luffy? Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.